he had a tweet removed for hateful conduct because he called somebody a female cat. Just some random guy, sup, PU, dollars, double dollar sign Y. And that's it.
Is
And
this
they say
from
you got
his
to delete
website or
that.
something? Did he post that again to Twitter, or so? Where does?
This is from his Patreon. I am a Patreon subscriber to Ben
Okay,
Bankas.
okay, all right, I got you. I didn't know if
And so he deleted it, and I just wanted to show some of the recent stuff Ben Bankas has been up to, because it's really funny, his Toronto mayoral campaign.
Do you wake up every day sad, depressed, lonely, confused, poor, worried about how you're going to feed your family, feed yourself? That's why I am going to stand up for trans rights on the campus of the University of Toronto. Step one, we are going to be making Jordan Peterson illegal. That means we're going to be doing weekly book burnings of Jordan Peterson's 12 rules, and we are also going to be banning him from the city. This will make people feel safe. We'll also be banning anybody who's ever been on the Joe Rogan podcast. So that means that Ryan Long will be banned from the city of Toronto, as will Gad Saad. That's right, Gad. Stay in Montreal. We don't want you here because we are an open and accepting city. This is native land.
You know, Eric Butler, the Toronto. Let me tell you something about the mayoral candidacies of Toronto's election here. It's next month, I believe. Well, we're almost May. It's in June 20 something. And the candidates are as followed: Ben Bankas, I believe officially registered, can't confirm. Chris Sky, who is also known as Anti-Lockdown Bro, made famous from my interview, I'll say. You also have a newspaper columnist from the Toronto Sun, which is Canada's most popular right-leaning newspaper. A little bit, establishment, but whatever. Then you have a bunch of people nobody's ever heard of, a guy who runs for mayor all the time and loses. Then you have a leftist woman named Olivia Chow, who was married to a guy who is he's deceased, rest in peace, a popular far-left politician for the NDP, as I've compared them to the Squad in the United States, like progressives. She is his widow, and she's running for mayor. When she was in office, she was part of, I think it was the Police City Council. I'll double check this as we're speaking, but she had public office. It was maybe a school board trustee. She was living in government housing for like 5 years as a member of public office. Then she became one of the police board trustees, I believe, or on the police board. Semantics here of what the title was. Another public position, and she had to resign from that for trying to influence the policing on a riot. So she tried to tell the police how to conduct their policing on a riot. You can imagine in which direction she wanted that to go. And these are the candidates for the mayor of Toronto since the since the former mayor had to step down because he got caught in an affair. And this wasn't even counting the video he had with a drag queen touching. You look that up for yourself. Don't want to get sued here, but this is the city of Toronto, Eric. I mean, people used to make fun of it when it had the crackhead mayor.
Yeah.
Again, rest in peace, Rob Ford. He was the best. Doug Ford sucks, though. And then John Tory was the mayor for so long, and he had to step down. And these are the candidates. And then, the local news, which you might have gotten a taste of when you were here, talks about how great this woman was because she's far left, and claims she's leading in the polls. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, so few people vote that it's just whoever's name you recognize is leading the polls. I don't understand.
Yeah, well, how does it I mean excuse me. It sounds like everybody in this, we see it in New York too. Their heels are so dug in. Whoever is controlling, because look, I think we can agree that there's likely a similar driving force behind the American politicians and Canadian politicians, right? The UK,
Yeah, it's pretty
Australia,
just left wing.
yeah, all over the place. But their heels are so dug in that nobody is going to come out and stop it. There's even RFK right now. I do feel like maybe this is a little bit off topic here, but recently has come out against climate extremism after that clip went viral. Neither here nor there. The point is, Their heels are so dug in, nobody's going to say, all right, you know what? Because their plan, like we always discuss, is not to fix anything. It's to make it, to continue the managed decline. So nobody is going to say, "Hey, you know what? I have some, left of center policies. I have some left of center views and values, but some of this has gone a little bit too far. Let's come to the middle." That's never going to happen. It's been everything has been is so extreme now that nobody as soon as you try to pump the brakes a little bit, like say a Tulsi Gabbard or maybe even Andrew Yang, depending on who you ask, they're going to smear you as a Russian, a right wing, a fascist, this, that, and the other. So there's going to be nobody who's going to say, all right, maybe we went a little bit too far. And that again is proof that they never planned, they never want to help anything. And it's just it's pretty despicable. And that's what happened with Andrew Cuomo in New York, right? So as much as I can't stand Andrew Cuomo and basically, credit him for ruining my life, they only brought in someone who's more extreme. They brought in Fimbot Cuomo, who walked around in a vax necklace claiming that she was the messiah of pharmaceuticals and that she went to churches telling people to be her disciples. Same thing with de Blasio, who was a complete rat, and his wife stole $80 million from who couldn't show any receipts for some mental health organization they had lined up. And then they put in Eric Adams, who's arguably worse than de Blasio. So, I mean, there is no middle ground. They're going to have to go they're going to have to hit rock bottom. And I'd say we're pretty darn close to rock bottom. And maybe the pendulum will swing, maybe it'll bounce back. But I wanted to ask you, and I've asked you this before, and you know where I stand on American politics, and I don't know if your views have changed from the last time I've posed this question, but is it real? Are most people in Toronto going to cast a ballot for the weirdo leftist and think it's a good idea, or is it all completely? I mean, is there thumb on the scale like we have in Arizona, like we have all over the place? Gavin Newsom, during his recall, this guy's caught sleeping, and I guess it's anecdotal, but this guy's caught sleeping in his car with a couple hundred ballots, pills, guns, and everybody's just pretending like, oh, that doesn't mean anything. It's all on the level. Everybody loves Gavin Newsom. Well, if everybody loved Gavin Newsom, then there would be no recall in the first place. So I guess to round it out, is this real? Can this be trusted, or is it just a machine-driven hoax?
Well, I think what happens in an election like Toronto is that so few people vote. Um, what they have is they get out a strong voting block of people, and they identify them and they get pressure them to vote. And of course, it's usually probably I know that's a bad thing to say, but it's probably a block of teachers unions and city workers and stuff like that. So I think they know where to target exactly, and they go out and reach out to those people, and then they really push it to the inner city leftists who go to voting. And what they push to them is, you vote for somebody other than, a hardcore leftist, and anti-gay stuff's going to happen. Forget about crime. Nobody cares about that. Access to abortion clinics is going to change. The transit system is going to get even worse somehow. You really don't have to say much to these people. And by these people, I mean people who vote for hardcore left-wing entities. And I'm not saying you have to vote for Republicans. But I think it's undoubtedly true that at this point in time, anyone who labels themselves as progressive doesn't accomplish anything. And you really don't have to say much to the people who are looking to vote for that. You say marginalized community. You say possibly defunding the police for community policing, depending on where you live. And you say LGBTQ rights and women's rights and trans rights. And if you just pretend like these people have rights taken away, which they do not, because, hormones for kids isn't a right, abortions aren't rights, stuff like that, then you can scare them into voting for their lives.
Turn it up, Jordan.